And we are live.
Yay.
Yay. Technical issues, but we are here. Let me share my screen. I'm going to give you all a little taste of a video. I've shared it once before, created by the amazing Lily Gonzalez. And I hope this is it when I click on it. You know what I just did? I always do this, guys. Technical issues happen. They are real and they happen a lot. So here we go. And there it is. I love that video. I hope it had the sound and everything. Could you see it and hear it?
Yeah, that was a great video. I like that.
Yeah, Lily Gonzalez is somebody that she's done my logo and she's done several of my promo videos. So love her to death. So and she was actually on here a few weeks ago talking about Puerto Rico. So
I missed that one.
yeah, well,
I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the lives, guys, is, if you do miss a live video, please go back and catch the replays. Because I'm telling you, ever since I've been doing, the travel stuff, I have really, when I started doing travel talk, I've gotten a lot of information on places I didn't know. And as a travel agent, and I need to say before I go on any further, too, I'm going to expand. Let me go ahead and finish that thought, I guess. As a travel agent, it's kind of important to know about the places that are out there to see. So that's why this has helped me tremendously. But I also want to say congratulations, Denise, because you're a travel agent now. And Denise had joined us on the Carnival Sunshine Reunion Cruise Talk Live a few weeks ago. And after that, Denise had been thinking about being a travel agent for a while, correct?
Yeah, for a very long time, yes.
Yeah, and so she kind of pulled the trigger and made it happen. And she is, what is the name of your travel business now?
White Dove Travel.
White Dove Travel. So make sure, do you have a business page set up yet?
I do.
Okay, make sure to check her out on Facebook, y'all, and give her some love. So anyway, with me today, and yes, this is a new time for, Travel Talk Sunday. I have always typically done it in the evenings, but I'm kind of combining today the Travel Talk with the agent chat because we're both agents. I have not been to New York, and that is what Denise is going to talk about today, specifically Long Island, New York, because that's where you grew up.
Yes, born and raised.
All right. So how long did you live there?
Till about 14 years ago, so most of my life.
Okay. And from New York, where did you end up going?
Florida.
Wow. So you went from New York, which is it not cold in the wintertime? And
It is. Yeah, New York has all 4 seasons.
Okay. And Florida has how many seasons?
Well, kind of 2.
Kind of. Yeah.
Kind of 2.
You're cold in New York. I mean, you're cold in Florida is not nearly as cold as you're cold in New York, right?
Oh, no. The coldest it gets in Florida is at night. It can drop down into the teens, but it doesn't last very long. And then during the day, it can sometimes get in the 30s, but it, again, doesn't last very long. And we only have maybe 3 weeks of actual winter where I am in Florida. I mean, northern Florida can get colder. They can even get a little bit of snow. But where I am, I have not seen snow.
Okay. So New York is on my bucket list.
It is. One day you're going to join me for a trip to New York, and I'm going to show
Yeah.
you around.
Yeah, because I'm telling you where I would really, my bucket list goal, I guess, is to actually, I would love to go around Christmas time or in between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And
Just
I'm going there this year.
Or yeah, that's right, you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it would be so awesome, I think, to be able to see the big Christmas tree and all of the windows,
It's
just
the
kind of
best.
the things that
The
you
best.
see on the movies and the TV shows that make New York extremely magical and special during Christmas.
It's the best. I have to tell you, it is not what it once was, because I can remember as a child things that no longer are. Like FAO Schwartz is no longer there. Macy's Winter Wonderland is not what it once was. So there are things that aren't there any longer that were there when I was a child, but it's still a really amazing place. Like Herald Square is still amazing. You still go see the Christmas tree that is decorated really beautifully, and it's so, so tall. It's like you look up and you think you're looking all the way up to the sky to see the top of the tree. And then below the tree is an ice rink.
Yeah, I know. That's what
Now,
I was
I
just
don't skate. I personally don't skate, but there are people who do. And just think that they're skating in the middle of New York City in front of this humongous Christmas tree.
Well, and that's what I was sitting here thinking is I don't skate either, but I think I would put the skates on and bust my butt just to
Oh,
kind
no,
of
no, no, no. I'm not
say
that
that
brave.
I was
I'd rather
out there.
watch somebody else do it, and I'll drink the hot chocolate.
Well, I think that would be one of the things I probably would not be, I have a scaredy cat bucket list. And I don't think that I could put the skates on because I don't have that far of a fall if I fall, so,
Yeah.
whereas it's not like zip
Yeah,
lining or
but
something.
see, I don't do cold things.
Yeah. Well, I just think it would be so magical, I guess.
Yeah,
Because and that's
it's
what you
beautiful.
see in the movies and it is
Hmm.
the
And
whole
there are still there are street vendors, and it's just so, so beautiful. And the windows are decorated, and there is a floor in Macy's dedicated to Christmas.
wow.
And Macy's in New York is not like any other Macy's. There are not just 2 floors. I think there are 8.
Right.
And
Wow.
yeah. And you go up to a certain floor, and it may be the 8th floor. I can't recall because I've not gone in a very long time. And it is a Macy's Winter Wonderland where the entire floor is decorated like a winter wonderland, and that's where you find Santa and his elves and his workshop, and it's that beautiful.
Wow, that's awesome. That to me would just be um super magical. I think it would kind of take me back to being a kid almost,
It does. It does. It's
Um,
like you don't feel the cold when you're experiencing that. And then, of course, there's Radio City Music Hall, which my friend and I are thinking about getting tickets for my husband, myself, her husband, and her children to all go and do that maybe on Black Friday.
oh wow.
So
Black
we're thinking of
Friday in
doing
New
that.
York scares me.
Oh,
I
no,
can just
no, no, no,
imagine.
no, no. New
Ooh.
York is not something to be afraid of. It is a very friendly place. People have a misconception of New York.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. Let me just say Black Friday in Kingsport, Tennessee scares me. So,
Yeah.
just because of the amount of people and the shopping, and
Oh,
I'm
I
not,
don't shop.
I'm not.
I don't shop. I hate to shop. I don't
Yeah,
shop on Black Friday. I don't shop on today. I just don't shop. I hate to shop. I go to the supermarket when you can see the bright light in the refrigerator.
me too. So we have Kim Marshall actually said that it would be so cool to ice skate around the tree. And
Yeah.
Maureen Painter actually said Macy's in New York is awesome, especially their windows. And I think that that's one thing with New York that I think of are the windows, and the way they decorate. And again, that comes from what I've seen on TV. I've not been
Mhm.
there. So is that accurate? And I'm assuming it is.
The windows are decorated beautifully, but I do want to answer, I forget who said about skating around the tree.
Kim
It's
Marshall.
okay, Kim, they don't skate around the tree, but the ice rink is in front of the tree and it's a little bit lower than the tree.
That's awesome. That would still be some amazing picture opportunities right there,
It
though.
is. It is. It's so, so beautiful.
And you always hear about, the Radio City Music Hall and
The,
like,
the Rockettes.
yeah, I mean, and then when you think, we're coming up in the holiday season, so you're thinking you got the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which I think
Yeah.
this year, are they doing virtual? I believe
It
I
is
heard.
confirmed that the Thanksgiving Day Parade is going to be virtual,
Yeah, I'm kind
which
of,
is sad. I don't think it's ever been virtual before. It's
well,
been canceled, I think, 2 times ever, but it's never been virtual before. I don't understand how they will do that, but it's not going to be, where people will be going there. And I personally have never gone to the parade because I'm not a big fan of freezing my tail off with a bunch of people.
right.
I did have the opportunity to go once, but I chose not to. Just, again, not a big fan of freezing.
Yeah. Now, you've got that, you've got all of the Christmas festivities, and of course, you've got New Year's Eve, in Times Square.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, still not a fan of being squished by people. Once you get into the area for New Year's Eve, you cannot leave.
oh,
So
wow.
yes, you either wear a diaper or you go to a porta potty that who knows how many millions of people have used, but you cannot leave the area once you're inside the sectioned off area. And for me, that is a very scary idea. I
Yeah.
know people who have gone. I know people who dream to go. Not me. I watch it on TV.
Yeah, and that's one thing I can say. I honestly do not dream of like doing New Year's Eve. I mean,
No,
that number of people, like I said, I am not, you know, a fan of huge crowds.
no, no,
And it has nothing to do with the city that I'm in. I mean,
no.
literally, it is, I don't like large crowds. Even with the parade, I mean, I figure I've got a better view at home cooking my turkey in the oven, watching the
Right.
parade on TV. But Christmas time is one thing I honestly can say, because it's not like you're going there for just one activity, you're not
No.
crammed.
And
So,
Christmas, you will get to experience everything because you can walk around the city and see what you want to see, stop at the different restaurants or the cafes, and do what you want to do. New Year's Eve, you're stuck.
yeah.
You're stuck in that crowd wherever you are in that crowd, and your view is your view. So if you see the back of somebody's head, that's what you see.
Right.
So
Now, I
that's
know,
unfortunate.
yeah, it is. But, I mean, I think for us that don't live there, I'm just a small town girl, I mean, it's like
Hmm.
I would love to do it, but I also love cruising. So my plan is actually
Cruise for
one
Christmas, New
year,
Year's.
yep,
That's
do the
my goal.
first cruise, leave out of New York,
Hmm.
um,
Yes.
and that
Yes.
way I get to go a couple of days ahead of time, see some of New York, get on the cruise ship, and then,
You let
that's
me
my
know when you're planning that because I might join you.
awesome,
Because that
awesome.
was one of my goals. I told my husband before we moved from New York that my goal was I wanted 2 things. I wanted to cruise out of New York and I wanted to take the horse and buggy ride around Central Park.
Oh, that would be awesome.
He did neither of those things for me. Neither. And I wanted him to arrange them because he doesn't ever think to do any of those things for me. Like the man doesn't even buy me flowers unless I tell him to.
Oh gosh, I can't say too much. Steve
Yeah.
Arrington, if you watch this, you know what I'm saying to you.
So I told him the two things that I wanted. It's like these are the two things I want, and I got neither. So I was not a happy camper.
Shame, shame, shame. So, now when we came here or to do this live, we actually didn't come in to talk about New York City. We actually came in to talk about, where are we going to be talking about?
Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York. So give us a little bit of the details before I pull up some pictures about Long Island.
Long Island, New York is where I grew up. And for me, it is one of the happiest places on earth. It is where I found my love of nature. It is a small island, literally an island. You need to take a bridge to get to there from New York, from New York City, from Manhattan. There's no other way to get there except by boat. It is only 12 miles wide and 60 miles long, but there is so much packed into that small island. It's amazing, and it is so, so beautiful.
I'm gonna pull up some of these pictures. Now how long did you say, how far away from like New York City is Long Island?
It is a 45-minute train ride. It is about an hour and a half drive, depending on traffic, depending on route. It really is. It depends, because there can be a lot of traffic on Long Island and on the bridges. It's jam-packed with people, just like New York City. The one picture I did not send you is the picture of the Brooklyn Bridge, which I really wanted to send you that one. There's a misconception. The misconception is that Brooklyn is a part of New York City. Brooklyn is one of the 5 boroughs, which is considered New York City, a section of New York City. However, Brooklyn is literally on the island of Long Island, and you need to take the bridge from Brooklyn to New York City to get to Manhattan.
Okay, so is that the bridge that you said that you have to go over to get? One of.
There are multiple bridges.
Okay.
So, but the Brooklyn Bridge is my favorite.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna pull these pictures up, and we're gonna go through some of the ones that you sent, because I'm excited to learn about Long Island, because I really don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah,
would it be a good place, do you think, for tourists and for people to vacation?
Well, I'll tell you, the east end of Long Island, where the Hamptons are and the vineyards are, that's where people vacation all the time. So, okay, well, that is Montauk Point, the very, very end of Long Island, the eastern end. That is one of my very, very favorite places.
Okay.
It's actually where the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean and the Long Island Sound meet there.
Okay.
So it's a very unique place, because the Long Island Sound is freshwater and the Atlantic Ocean is obviously not freshwater, it's saltwater. And those two pieces of water, bodies of water, come together right there.
Okay. You just let me know when you're ready for me to go.
Yeah, you can go to the next picture.
Okay.
So that is me climbing the rock structures at Montauk Point.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, a walker I am not. So that
was my favorite thing to do, was to climb the rocks and pick up shells and see little sea creatures and stuff like that. You can go to the next picture.
Okay.
See what we have.
Oh, now,
okay.
Speaking of being cold.
Yeah. So this is actually my mother's front yard, and we did have some snow then. So you can see the beautiful foliage. There's snow, there's some pine trees, there's some oak trees. We've got different shrubbery. She's got all kinds of stuff in her yard.
How much snow on average would you all get there, do you think?
It would depend on the season. You can get anything from just a dusting on up to a few feet. So every season would be different. When I was a kid, we got a lot more snow than they generally get now.
Okay.
So you could definitely see where seasons have changed and we've gotten warmer.
I think that's kind of the same way. And I guess they say, is it global warming and things like that that's affecting the amount of snow? And because we definitely see that here. I remember having huge snows. I grew up, was born and raised in Asheville, North Carolina. And, I remember having bigger snows than what we have now. We get very little snow here, on average. So,
okay, that's also a part of her yard. I think that's her backyard, but you can see the different foliage, and this would be more towards a springtime, I believe. But you could see the different pines, and I think that's an oak tree.
right. Hey, I see a burn barrel down here in the lower left hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Goes out in my driveway. Actually, we have a burn barrel here. So
yeah. She's considered, she lives like just on the outskirts of wine country.
oh, okay. Okay.
She's on the what's called the North Fork. So there's two forks, the North Fork and the South Fork. That's the east end of Long Island.
Okay.
So this is a year that there was a lot of snow.
Wow.
Yes, and you can see that they built an archway. And the next picture will show you just how much snow we had. You can go to the next slide.
Yeah, I'm sitting here though looking at this, and I'm thinking I'm cold right now looking at this.
Yeah, it was a chilly one.
Yeah, I think last year I didn't wear anything more than maybe a sweatshirt with a thinner jacket over it. I don't know, but these kids are bundled up. I mean, bundled up. Wow.
That's my son-in-law. My son-in-law is 6'2".
Wow.
They had enough snow to build that. He built an igloo.
Okay, so anyone watching this live, are you ready? I mean, how many of you all like snow enough that you would be ready to? I love snow. I really do.
Not me.
And I think
I like it I can look at it like this. I like it like that.
Was a white Christmas something that was traditional in what you all grew up with?
No, not always. Not always. We had the occasional white Christmas. We had the occasional white Thanksgiving. We had the occasional white Easter. So it was, hit or miss.
Right. Kim Marshall says that she does love looking at the snow. So
yeah. Okay, we're back to Montauk Point, the Montauk Point Lighthouse, which is absolutely gorgeous. There's a lot of lighthouses on Long Island. Being an island, you would imagine there's I can think of at least with my brain quickly, I can think of 3. There's Montauk, there's Jones Beach, there's Robert Moses. I know there's more, but I can only come up with 3 offhand right now.
Right. Well, now, so for lighthouse lovers, Long Island would definitely be a place because you said it's only 60 miles long, right?
Right. And I think there are, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's 5 lighthouses on the island.
Okay. So, but I mean, 60 miles, that's definitely, I mean, you could literally be all over the island in a day. I mean,
you could, but you wouldn't want to. There's too much traffic to do that in one day. You'd want a couple of days.
Right. But I mean, if you planned a trip, and you had all these different days to kind of explore, it's definitely, you could hit all the lighthouses probably during your vacation.
Absolutely. There. Absolutely. And the lighthouses are open. You can climb them.
You can climb?
You can climb them.
Okay.
This particular lighthouse, the house underneath it, you can go inside of it and you can see different historical pieces. And there's a little store in there.
I love lighthouses. So, all right. See, now we got into some tiny little pictures here, but that's okay.
It's viewable. So this you can see where the side on, okay, so where I'm looking at it, I'm hoping everybody else can see it the same way. On the right side is the calm water from the Long Island Sound. And on the left side is the rougher water from the Atlantic Ocean.
Hang on, let me see if I can make this a little bit, whoops, I went too far. Hang on.
Where'd you go? You went to other pictures. Okay.
Yep, let me go
Oh,
and
you want
see
to
if I can
increase it?
make this.
Okay. Oh,
It might
it
distort it.
pixelates. It pixelates. Go down a little. That's nice right there. Okay. So can you see the difference in the water?
Yes, over here is the rougher, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
And
do
then
you see behind the lighthouse? Do you see that circular area behind the lighthouse?
like here?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a parking area and a picnic area. And then off to the left of, I'm sorry, the right of that is a restaurant. Yep. And then
Okay.
below that, where that sand is actually a beach area. And this is all called Montauk Point State Park.
Okay. So this would definitely be something for somebody that's vacationing. They could make a whole day out
Absolutely.
of, you know,
Absolutely.
you take lunch,
And then there's, right,
dinner.
if you see this road that's going around the parking area, if you follow that straight out where that, right where the arrow is, that straight out to that point, that goes into the town of Montauk, which is a very quaint town.
Now, can you actually drive down this road up to the lighthouse, or do you walk?
You walk.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty. It's still a pretty view. And then you got the real calm waters and your rougher waters. So
Yes. Yes. And all this rock area where I used to walk and climb and play.
yeah, because you like nature.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can go to the next picture. I don't know what happened here. Hang on.
You have to shrink down again, I think.
Oh, let's see. There we go. All right. Let me bring this one up a little bit.
Yeah, so this is in the town of Montauk. You can see it's just very quaint little older buildings, very walker friendly, bicycle friendly.
Okay.
It's sort of like a fishing village, very New Englandly type.
I like the blues or the bluish green, the turquoisey colors in there.
Yes. Yes.
It definitely feels those colors to me when I see it. I think when you go into the islands and stuff like that, you know, in the ports and in the touristy areas, you see those colors a lot.
Well, it's eye-catching.
Is this a tourist area, a high
It
tourist
is.
area? Okay.
It is. There are people who live there year round, but it's more touristy. During season, it can be very expensive.
Okay. I love that though. I love those colors. All right, let me.
Okay, so South Haven County Park.
Is that where we're going to now in the picture?
That is where we're going to now. It's in sort of like the middle of Long Island, closer to the eastern part of the island, but it's a beautiful nature park. It's kept very natural. They haven't done a lot of enhancements to it. So it's a lot of just, you can go to the next slide. Like this is an original building that was there when they first started the park. It's a brick building. It's really, really pretty. Nobody's lived in it. They don't, I think they use it as offices now. I don't recall ever being inside of it. But it's so, so pretty to look at because of all the old architecture when like Civil War time and stuff like that, when buildings were made from brick.
Right.
Really, really pretty. You can go to the next picture.
Maybe.
Maybe, or maybe not.
All right, why is it not letting me go to my next one now?
It will.
It's going to be a little bit difficult.
It's okay.
Well, you know what?
It'll get us there. No
There
worries.
we go.
Okay, so this lake goes through a good portion of one side of the park. It's got fish in it. You can canoe, you can kayak, you can rowboat, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's like that, calm as glass a good portion of the time. It's got a little tiny, what is that called when it drops off? Oh my gosh. I had a brain fart here. Yep. Okay. It's not going to come to me. All right. Yep.
So
Okay.
I know, Denise, that you said you found your love of nature here. And
Yes.
I'm kind of seeing why.
Yeah.
And I think for your nature lovers that might not be thinking, because I think when you think New York, you think the big cities and you think, the skyscrapers and you think this, and this. But I think that you're definitely showing a different side of New York. And I think New York, you can't just think of New York as being New York City.
No, not at all.
Because I think when we do that, we sell ourselves short, or
This is
maybe we miss out on opportunities.
right. This is the absolute contrast of New York City.
Okay.
So the other side of the park is all greenery. It's trees like weeping willows and paths to walk, trails to walk on, and camping and picnic tables and horseback riding, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I would have my kids' birthday parties in here, and we would have Cub Scout events in here and picnics and stuff like that. So
Now,
we can go to go ahead.
What kind of lodging would there be around? I mean, where would people stay? Are there hotels? Are
Absolutely. Hotels, motels. Yeah, I'm sure that there are Airbnbs around in the, not in this particular area, but in the Hamptons and in other areas. But this particular area is more of a nature area.
Okay.
But yeah, and then right around it, the towns that are around it are more residential.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, so this is a train ride that you can actually ride on inside that park. It's been there forever. And you can see
we have Steel Creek Park in Bristol, Tennessee, and I believe they have a train kind of like this there as well. So may not be exactly like that. I've only been there once.
You can see how it's all still kept natural. All the pine needles still fall to the ground. They're not cleaned up. I don't know if anybody knows this, but pine needles on the ground actually help keep moisture for the roots of the plants.
Awesome. Nice little tip. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I really hadn't thought about it until you said that. So good information. All right.
Okay, so now we get to the Long Island Pine Barrens, which is not that far from the park we were just talking about. It's a little bit east. Okay. Long Island Pine Barrens is a pine forest that is on Long Island, protected by the public. It's about 100,000 acres that will never be developed. It did one time suffer a tragedy. You'll see some pictures of that, well, a picture of that in a little while, where in the dry season, somebody threw a cigarette out a car window driving down the road, and it started a fire, and a good portion of the Pine Barrens did catch fire. But here's the thing. It actually needed to burn to replenish, because there are some forests that need to burn to replenish. So we found that out the hard way. We didn't know. But in any case, absolutely beautiful, beautiful pine forest. You can go to the next picture. It's got trails in it. It's got absolute beautiful ground cover in it. It's got little tiny pine trees coming up. It's home to so much nature. It's home to birds. It's home to squirrels, raccoons, you name it. There's deer in there galore. So much deer.
I just started to say, what kind of big critters do you have?
Yes,
Because you see,
yes.
that's one thing that Steve is really, anywhere we go, we have to find out what animals are here.
Right.
So
There's some fox in there. There's a bunch of animals in there.
okay.
Unfortunately, I don't think Long Island has wolf anymore. I think that the wolf have been driven away or killed on Long Island.
Aw.
Yeah, I think they only have them in captivity now, unfortunately. I'd love to see wolf back in the wild on Long Island, but I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, let's go to the next one. This shows you where on Long Island the Pine Barrens are located.
Okay.
And also shows you how small the island really is.
So this area right here, just the arm that extends out, is Long Island, correct?
Yes. Yep.
All right. So good information. Let me make this. It's not going to let me enlarge this.
That's okay. This is how bad the fire was. And it was bad. It jumped over the roadway. So both sides of the Pine Barrens caught fire. It burned for days. People were bringing meals to the firefighters and just bringing water to the firefighters, and they were there 24 hours a day for days on end. It was a very, very sad time. We were really scared that we were going to lose the Pine Barrens.
When did this happen? Do you know?
20.
It's okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
It was a long time ago. It was
Okay.
a long time ago.
Okay.
But the Pine Barrens have been replenished and they're beautiful again.
And you said that fire actually needed to happen. Y'all just didn't know it then.
Right.
But it needed to happen because did it come back even bigger and better and more?
Yep. Yes. So I don't know if you guys know, like I know in Florida, and I don't know if they do it in other areas, they have controlled burns.
Mm-hmm.
So in New York, they never knew about controlled burns.
Okay.
So, the controlled burns are to replenish and to keep down the overgrowth and to help it rebuild itself.
Okay.
So
That's awesome. I mean, it's not awesome that happened, but at least
No.
that something good came from it. It might have taken time, but sometimes things have to, it's change, and
Right.
at least it was not, at least something good did come from I would say back then it was a tragedy when it happened.
Right. Think about
But
a farm. Think about a farm. Crops have to die so the seed can fall to the ground so that it can grow again.
right.
Same thing.
Oh.
Now you can see the regrowth. You see the small trees coming up, and the ground is not as covered. But there's more trees coming up. You see how fresh and green that is.
Yeah. Oh, there is a difference in the way it looks in this picture as opposed to the first picture that we saw.
Yes.
It does look a lot more vibrant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now are we going to talk about any activities that are there to do, or is it just the trails?
Yep, we are. We are.
I just didn't know if.
So this is Belmont Lake State Park. This is further up west on the island. This has, go ahead, you can go to the next picture.
Okay.
And you can see foliage turning on this one. This has the paddle boats.
Yeah, it won't let me make it bigger.
That's okay. You can go to the next one. This park has, I don't know if they still do, they used to have horseback riding, but you see the picnic area. They have the rowboats and fishing, waterfall.
Look at those colors.
Yes, yes. That's what Long Island looks like in the fall. That's what all of Long Island looks like in the fall.
Look at the color in that.
Isn't that
See,
gorgeous?
fall is my favorite time of the year. And I think, I always thought it was because of the cooler weather, but I really think it's because of the color. And because, how can you not be happy seeing all these bright colors, or for me, I don't know about anybody else, but for me.
Yeah. Do you know, I used to work 12 miles away from where I lived, and I would drive down the same road all the way, just one road. And I could see, as I was driving, the changes daily in the trees. It was amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
that's kind of like when, I live in the mountains. Well, we live in the mountains. And it's like one day you go to bed and everything's green. And it's like the next morning when or maybe it's just because you notice it more, you don't always see the subtle changes, but it's like, wow, it went from green to oranges and yellows and all of this.
Yes.
But, a lot of people, we're close to the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will drive the parkway just to see these colors. A lot of people come to where they can see the fall foliage. And, so you don't, I guess, again, when you're thinking about New York City, when you're thinking New York, you are not, if you're thinking primarily it's just the big skyscrapers, you're thinking, how much of this could you see? And then seeing Long Island through what you're providing to us, this is New York. I mean, so you can have the best of both worlds.
Right. And so many people think that they have to go to upstate New York to get this, and you don't.
Right. Wow.
Okay, let's go. Now, here's the old Bethpage Village restoration. This is a park that is in Nassau County, Long Island, that shows history to children, I mean, to adults too, but this is a trip that is for elementary school kids, takes them back to the early pioneers. You can go to the next slide.
Well, it's difficult sometimes.
I know.
There we go.
Here, so it shows them how we lived as pioneers. You can go to the next slide. And it teaches them about our history and lets them experience how we lived. Go ahead. This is a classroom. They can sit at the desk. Go to the next one. And people are in costume. The people who work here are all in costume. They can go to the general store. They can get a sarsaparilla. They can get a root beer barrel. They can, everything there is authentic.
That's awesome.
And the entire village, if somebody is sewing, they're sewing on a sewing machine that they have to pump with their foot. If they're, working on a horse, they're working on a horse with tools from that time period. If they're plowing a field, they're plowing a field with a horse or an ox, and they're using tools from that time period. And children are learning firsthand instead of from a book about our history the right way. And it's a really great experience.
I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, I know that we have places like this around here. I mean, we really do. But it never even occurred to me again. That's, that you would have, I guess, I think sometimes media just kind of poisons our brain about what we expect one state to be like. I mean, that's just a small portion.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to this. You were talking about the school. I'm sure they use this as church as well, didn't they?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, because when I first looked at it, when you sent it to me, I was thinking, I would love, I'm a photographer. I could imagine doing some amazing photos inside of there.
Right.
But I mean, I looked at it and said, oh, that's a church. But of course, they doubled churches and schools,
They did.
we're
You're right.
one in the
Yes.
same building. And
Hmm.
then, this right here, I'm going to tell you, I look at this and it takes me back to my grandmother's old house,
Hmm.
because about the way, this actually looks a lot nicer than my grandmother's did, growing up in the mountains of Virginia, or living in the mountains of Virginia and coming up here to visit at the time. These chairs, I mean, things like that are stuff that I would see in her home,
Right.
things like that. So, and I believe that was the last picture that we had. Was that it,
Okay.
Denise?
Well, a lot of the pictures that we had did not come through.
Yeah, we
So
had some technical
yeah,
difficulties as
yeah.
usual.
But
I'm gonna,
I
yeah,
will tell you that we have the Long Island Game Farm, which is an interactive farm with animals for children to go to, where they can see animals in open cages, interact with some of them, the ones that are not dangerous. They
right.
can ride around in a trolley-like type of thing and see other animals. Then there's a water park. Trying to remember the name of it. Oh my gosh, it just fell out of my head. But there's a water park down in the eastern end of the island. There are not amusement parks on Long Island. For amusement parks, just a short drive over to New Jersey for Six Flags. They've added some things since I've lived there. There's a lot of shopping now, which I don't do. So
Yeah,
I can't speak on that. I can tell you that I have friends who do it, but I'm not one of them. So,
yeah, I'm not a shopper either.
right.
Um,
But we
what
do
was your?
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Okay. Do have amazing public transportation, anything from a taxi cab to a bus to a train. So that I can say, you do need a car on Long Island to get from one place to another, pretty much, but you can take public transportation. Like if you want to go into New York City, I drive because I like to drive and I'm not afraid to drive in New York City. But for those who are afraid to drive, take the train. And
Yeah.
public transportation in New York City is amazing.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure, if you're going to go to Long Island and say you're going to stay on Long Island and kind of explore those areas, I'm sure there's a lot of places to rent cars.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
when do you think the absolute best time, if somebody was trying to figure out when the best time to visit Long Island, New York, when do you think the best time to visit would be?
It depends on what they want to visit for. If they want to visit for the beaches, they want to go in the summertime. If they want to avoid crowds and beaches are not important to them, they want to go in the spring or the fall. I will say that in the summertime, Long Island gets very, very busy because a lot of people come from New York City, from New Jersey, from Connecticut, and they go out to the Hamptons. They either rent or they own homes out in the Hamptons.
And
So
the Hamptons is part of Long Island,
the
right?
Hamptons are part of Long Island.
Okay.
There's very, very beautiful homes out in the Hamptons, and it's a whole different society, I want to say.
So, does it get really hot there in the summertime?
Not usually. The
Well, not
80s.
compared to Florida. I mean, you're
No,
sitting
no,
there
no.
talking about
No,
Florida.
the 80s, the 70s and the 80s are the average. It can get in the 90s. On the occasion, it can hit 100, but it's rare. The whole time I lived up there, we never had air conditioning until maybe the last 2 years that I lived there, when we put a window air conditioner in our house.
Which is completely different from Florida, because I bet you couldn't survive in Florida without an air conditioner. So
I probably could, but the rest of the world could not.
right, yeah, I absolutely couldn't, because to me the 80s is hot. So
Yeah,
I'm a
no,
sweat.
for me, I'm like, I like 90 and 95 degrees. I'm happy like that. So most people are not.
Right.
It's 95 degrees out and I'm out walking my dog. So
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you
go ahead.
prefer New York or Florida?
For the weather, I prefer Florida. For the how do I want to say that? For the conveniences, I prefer New York. There
Right.
are so many things that I cannot get in Florida that I can get in New York.
Right. And I think, how often do you go back to New York to visit?
I just got back a couple weeks ago. I'm going back in November and I'm going back in February. This is not the norm. Usually it's like once a year. So this year
So
there's just a lot going on.
you still have family there, right?
I do. My son and daughter-in-law and my new grandbaby are up there. My best friend / chosen sister is up there. So yeah, I go back as often as I can. But I will say that cruising takes preference over going back to New York.
Yeah, Denise is a very, 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 very enthused cruiser. And like I said, the Sunshine Cruise was where I actually met Denise, and that was through that cruise group. And so I'm kind of blessed that she is on this path now and on this journey. I'm glad you came on and talked about New York, because I think we may need to cover New York City more in depth
Yeah,
soon.
I'd love to.
Um, and maybe tie that into cruising out of there. You've not cruised out of there yet, right?
I have not, but I want to.
Yep. So maybe that's a group cruise. Maybe I'll put together, and see if anybody wants to bite the bullet and do a Christmas cruise as a group cruise.
That sounds like a plan
Um,
to me.
because I think it would be. I know when you sail out of New York, you actually sail by the Statue of Liberty, right?
Yes,
I mean,
you do.
actually.
You sail right through New York Harbor.
Yeah, so that would be so awesome.
And you know what?
And
When you sail out of New York Harbor, you see the Intrepid. The Intrepid is actually an amazing ship.
oh, really? So, lots of guys, yes, COVID is here. And I know even New York right now, I'm going to tell you, I did look this up the other day. It's not easy to travel into New York right now. We know that with COVID.
You can travel into New York. You just get put into a 14-day quarantine.
Right, which means if you're going to New York to visit, I mean, like, if you've got a hotel room booked, guess what? You're probably going to have to stay in your hotel until,
Yes.
I don't know, are they doing the negative? Or are they doing I think they're doing the mandatory 14 days still.
They are doing a mandatory 14 days and they check on you every day.
Yeah, and that's depending on, I think, what states. If you're coming from one of the hot states, the states
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
have classified as high risk or high potential.
Right. So I don't know if you're coming from a state that's not considered a hot state. I don't know what the procedures are, but for me, coming from Florida, which is a hot state, my entire 2 weeks there, I was in quarantine.
Yeah. Well, and Tennessee and Virginia both, I did check because I live on the Tennessee-Virginia line on the Virginia side. And I have a lot of people that I know in Tennessee and a lot of people in Virginia and North Carolina. And I think North Carolina was also on that list. If you're traveling from any of those states, it's mandatory 14 days. So right now, yes, you can go, but guys, we know COVID's not going to last forever. Our new normal there may be some precautions, but eventually some of these are going to start lightening, the quarantines and the quarantine procedures. So I'm not saying don't go to New York right now, but I'm going to say just know that where I was going with this is United States travel, I think, is going to be a huge thing for people coming up. Because some people are going to be scared of international travel. And there's some beautiful places within the borders of the United States that you can visit. And I'm thankful that you came on and talked about Long Island, New York, because I never would have thought, if anybody would have said, hey, I'm a nature lover, where's a great place to go? I wouldn't have thought Long Island, New York. I mean, I really would not have. So I'm really glad that you did come on here and kind of show us that, New York is not just what we see on TV. That there's whole different places, and that's just one place within New York. So
Yeah. And what I showed you isn't even a half of it.
yeah.
There's
Yeah,
so
because
much
I mean,
more.
the beaches I'm sure are amazing there. I
The
mean,
beaches are gorgeous, and then there's the vineyards, and I mean, there's so much more.
right. So, I'm gonna take, Denise, if it's okay, and put your pictures up on the group page. The
Sure.
destination spotlight will be Long Island, New York.
Absolutely.
And for anybody that's not checked out the group page, that is Let's Talk All Things Travel. And I would love to get some people in over there. I want it to be a really interactive site. I do try to take things from our travel talk and share that information in the destination spotlight, because there are some beautiful places that we've already explored. Also, if anyone is interested in coming on here and talking about your vacation, or the place that you live, if you think it's beautiful and people would love to come visit there, let me know. I want people to be in here. I don't want to just be the one to come in here and sit. I really enjoy having people come on and share, their information, because I learn from that. So, all right, Denise, you got anything else?
No, I just can't wait till we go back and do the New York City one and talk about that, because that's going to be a lot of fun.
And guys, that's another thing. I have asked Denise if she would like to join me for agent chat, which if you saw the video at the beginning, that is my agent chat promo, or the opening video. And it's going to be a really informal, let's have a cup of coffee and talk travel. And it's going to be our own personal experiences. And Denise is going to come on some with me. There may be other agents that join us. This is going to be, as travel agents, we have some experiences, that I would love to talk about some of my travels, and the awe and the wonder and all of that through those. And I know Denise has been on a lot of cruises and a lot of travel of her own. So why not? And then we can just talk about, COVID's affecting us right now, and what's going on in the world and what's going on in your world. I mean, what's going on in my world. So it's going to be a really informal, let's have a cup of coffee and chat. We don't know exactly what day yet. I got to get with Denise and find out what's going to work best for her. So, and because I'm kind of flexible during the day, but it will be a daytime. And I really think, guys, all of my lives now are going to be transitioned to daytime lives, and everybody can catch it on the replays. So, but yeah, let's talk about New York. Let's get together and definitely talk about New York, because it's on my bucket list, y'all. It's on my bucket list. All right, so I think we're going to get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your Sunday and a great work week. Tuesday 1 o'clock is going to be Cruise Talk Live this coming week. And Tara Kerr from Rainbow of Bluntville is going to come on and talk. She's done some cruising. We're going to talk cruises, and I'm going to give away the Air Care to Go that I've been doing the drawings for. So you've got a few more chances to get your name in for that drawing, y'all. Okay, so everybody, I will see you all on Tuesday. Thank you, Denise.
Yep, you're so welcome.
All right, I will talk to you soon. Everybody, take care. Bye.
Bye.